Hey, what's going on, guys? PvP and Chili here, and today I'm making a full video on the J6k1. So I've been grinding out Japan rank 4 through rank 5 recently, and I'll be honest with you, it's not as bad as a lot of people make it sound. The aircraft is a pretty decent one. I mean, it's nothing amazing. You're not going to do anything too crazy with it. And you get up tiered into jets a lot. You're gonna be up tiered a lot, and that's okay. It comes with battle rating. Unfortunately, I don't believe this vehicle deserves the battle rating it's at. Maybe 6.0, but it's not a 6.7 aircraft. But let's talk about the J6k1. So we're going to talk some history on it, and we're going to talk about, pros and cons. So, let's see here. So, the J6K, it's made by Kawanishi. They are, I don't know much about the Kawanishi group, so I couldn't tell much about it. But they call this thing the Jinpu. The J6K, sorry. I haven't made one of these in a long time, guys, so sorry. So the Kawanishi J6k1 Jinpu was developed as a land-based interceptor and appeared in paper form during 1943, but was destined to never enter serial production during World War II. Also, if anybody is wondering what I'm reading from, it is militaryfactory.com, specifically about this aircraft. I figured Wikipedia was not the best place to go read from, so I found another source. And so far, things add up for the most part. So the power and performance of this vehicle, it's powered by one Mitsubishi Mk9A Homer 42. It's a radial piston engine. Average speeds you're going to reach with this aircraft is roughly around 426 miles an hour, or about 685 kilometers an hour. And for those super aviation nerds, roughly around 370 knots. The destined altitude for this vehicle is roughly 10,000 meters, but you're never going to reach this altitude in War Thunder, and if you do spend your time grinding to this, the game is already over by that point. I generally take it to about 4.5 to 6K, and I see where we're at from there. Because in War Thunder, well, you climb to 10,000 feet, you probably run out of fuel, or everybody's 12 kilometers below you. Yeah, something like that. No, I don't know. You know what? My math is not mathing. Don't trust me on that one. Those tail wingtip to wingtip physical qualities of the Kawanishi J6k1. It's a single-seat, land-based interceptor prototype aircraft. Prototype. That's why we didn't ever hear anything about this in the war. It was just a prototype aircraft. It was 32.8 feet long and roughly 41 feet wide. It had a very wide wingspan. As you can see here displayed in War Thunder, it's got quite a wide wingspan, which allows for it to still maintain a lot of its maneuverability. But you're not going to have a lot of that maneuverability at high speeds. You're generally going to be doing your maneuvering between 400 and 5 kilometers an hour, or 400 and 500 kilometers an hour. Now, see here in this video clip here, I got up tiered into a jet game, so I can't really compete too well. So I'm gonna ground strike, so don't mind the background. There's some funny stuff that happens in these clips I got with it, which I was quite surprised about the J6K. Now, let's talk about armament, because I'm 4.5 minutes into the video, and I haven't talked about what you have for weapons. So you got two 13.2mm HMGs, and you have 6, I think they're Type 99 20mm machine guns, or cannons, sorry. A 20mm gun is not a cannon. I mean, yo, you know what I'm talking about. Ignore me. Jesus. So, You get a bunch of ammo for the cannons and not as much for the machine guns, but you're going to be killing with the cannons. And I recommend stealth or tracer belts. That's my opinion. I have the most success with tracer, weirdly enough, and you've seen this video, I'm using stealth. I didn't catch any clips of me using tracer belts, but they connect and they work pretty okay. I mean, you got like 1,200 rounds, so it's not too bad. So let's talk more about it. So when this vehicle was proposed, it was proposed with 4 20mm and 2 13mm machine guns, or 2 30s and 2 13s, or 6 20s. Here in War Thunder, we have a weird version of it. Not one of the 3 variants for this aircraft that were proposed, but that's okay. You got the best of both worlds. You got your machine guns and you got a bunch of cannons. This thing is pretty good with head-ons. I start firing at about 2 kilometers out, and I go till about 1.5, 1.3, and then I pull off. Because, well, I'm not going that fast. The rounds aren't going to be going that fast directly off the bat. Obviously, the rounds have their own velocity, but a lot of the time... Oh. I just noticed something. Huh. So, a lot of the time, your opponent's going to be flying faster, which means the rounds are going to be moving faster, which doesn't, there's not much of a difference there really, but it's physics, and War Thunder sometimes implements these things. I haven't really noticed it, so don't quote me, but physics wise, yeah. So the J6k, from what I can see, there was really only one variant of this made. The J6k1 was a base series designation project, entered mock-up stages for cancellation. So basically what that means is they mocked it up and they were working on it, and well, obviously it didn't make it there. Yeah, it didn't get to being properly made, and that's okay. It's not the end of the world for the aircraft, for the most part, because it's here in War Thunder and we get to enjoy it. But this aircraft never entered service in any way, shape, or form. From what I can see here, Kawanishi, they were pulled out to try to develop aircraft as more fighters and bombers became, more allied forces were in Japanese airspace. And so with the need for a new, faster flying, high-altitude land-based interceptor to combat the growing presence of Allied bombers in and around Japanese territories during World War II, the Japanese Navy drew up a requirement for such an aircraft, and Kawanishi developed a pair of contenders. You got the N1K2 and the J3K, both appearing in 1942. However, the N1K2 proved itself better, and work for the J3K was eventually abandoned. The J3K is the J6, just renamed. Let's see, so as war progressed against Japan's favor, Nakajima resurrected the J3K design once more, and this time with a new engine, and evolved it as the J6k1, given the name of Jinpu. The J3K was never to achieve anything more than being a high-altitude experimental interceptor proposal as the worsening war effort for Japan's untimely doomed. Yo, I just can't read. Help. By and large, the J6k1 was conventionally arranged, no-frills aircraft of the wartime period. It was to fit a Nakajima NK9A0 HA45-42 non-turbocharged radial piston engine with force cooling and 3-speed mechanical supercharger in the nose, driving a 4-bladed prop unit. The cockpit was a single-seat design and set behind the engine. In the typical way, monoplane wings were to be used with a single vertical tail fin and low-set horizontal planes. Engineers estimated maximum speed in 425 miles an hour per range, with exceptional range around 5.5 hours endurance time on internal fuel alone, and loaded weight of 9,600 pounds. The original proposed form of 420s and 213s. Second proposed, yeah, we went over the armament. It's just going back over it. There's not much else on this page, but I'm going to go find other ones, of course. From blueprints readied in 1943, a full-scale mock-up was reviewed by the Imperial Japanese Navy, or Japanese naval authorities, during February of 1944. Another review took place in June of that year as groundwork for an actual prototype was being laid, and some changes were instituted as a result. Revised rudder, cockpit armoring. A second mock-up was underway when the project was cancelled mid-August of 1942, as Kawanishi became overly committed to the successful N1K2 line, regarded by many observers as one of the best Japanese fighters of the war. Kawanishi engineers maintained the optimism about the J6k, believing it would become a high-performance interceptor with strong handling characteristics, sound maneuverability, and powerful armament, and a healthy rate of climb to contend with the Boeing B-29. I'll be real with you guys, it does not contend. It does not. Just like this thing and jet tiers. It does not contend very well. And I'll be real with you, I don't know how I didn't kill that 262 or at least get a hit. But it is what it is, unfortunately. That's where we're at with it. But that's okay. Not the end of the world. Okay. So now I'll go to the War Thunder Wiki real quick and read directly from this, just briefly. So the War Thunder Wiki says, the J6k, designated as Jinpu Kai, was a land-based interceptor that evolved from the J3k Jinpu, a cancelled fighter project that depended on the delayed Mitsubishi HA-43 Mark Mk9 engine. The Kawanishi manufacturer of both models switched to the Nakajima HA-45. Oh. I didn't even notice I killed that 262. Yeah, that was kind of nice, I think. Yeah. The J6k has been in War Thunder for almost 5 years. It's been in the game since Operation Frost, which was winter 2019. So it's still got some time till it hits that 5-year period, but it has been in the game for a minute. Let's see. I'm just reading through this real quick, seeing, because I don't want to go over the same thing I already repeated. The fire rate on the 20mm cannons is 490 shots per minute, and the machine guns is 798 shots per minute. So you're going to run out of machine guns well before you run out of cannons. As you can see here, I got cannons, but I'm out of the machine guns. The J6k can be thought of as a slightly heavier N1K2. This means your climb rate and turn rate have been nerfed somewhat in the beginning of each battle. You will need to side climb, as the J6k's added weight makes the climb rate rather subpar against many of your opponents. It is reasonably maneuverable and beats every American aircraft, spare the P-59A and RB, though it is not enough to outturn highly maneuverable planes like the RE-2005 and the Spitfires. Though it will outturn the later and heavier Spitfires and with clipped wings, however, it holds specific advantages over all of these aircraft, which changes depending on which one it's engaging. Versus Merlin Spits, it outspeeds them and destroys them at high altitude, versus Griffin Spits, it can outmaneuver, and it's considerably faster than the RE-2005 and can deal quite a bit of damage with its large armament setup. The only exception to these is the VF-109s. As you approach the style, as your approach style will have to change depending on the variant of the measurement in question. If they are mounting gun pods or not, you can outmaneuver them when they mount the gun pods, but you can't outspeed them. Ideally, you should boom and zoom 109s if you have the altitude advantage, or try to head on them, but the latter poses a significant risk due to the lack of bulletproof glass on the J6k. Speed and altitude are your best friends when piloting the Jinpu, the Nakajima Homer 42 engine that powers the aircraft. Okay, so they put the Nakajima Homer 42 in this. I read earlier that they put some kind of like Mitsubishi motor in it. This is why you look at multiple sources. Then again, I don't know if the wiki source is really a great place, like the War Thunder wiki. Some people are gonna hate me for this, some people are not. I'm just reading history, bro, and reading. Oh my god. Yo, don't smoke me for that. Don't do it. I didn't mean to. It was an accident. Okay. The Nakajima Homer 42 engine that powers this aircraft is tuned for high altitude combat. Is quite poor at altitudes below 2,000 meters. So altitudes around or above 4,000 are your ideal combat areas. Once you reach that altitude, start hunting for bombers and high-flying attackers, then tear them to shreds with your impressive armament. If there are no bombers, or they have all been destroyed, you are free to fly a more reserved high-altitude energy fighter role versus other fighters. Beware of your absolute rip speed of 780 kilometers an hour, which is 484 miles an hour, while diving on enemies. Specific planes worth noting: the P-51H, the last of the Mustangs, is a fearsome opponent that can walk all over the J6k if given the chance. It's slightly quicker, it's better at altitude, climbs better. To top it off, it mounts I'm sorry, the way they worded it, it's a sextet of... Man, I lost my spot. A sextet of unnaturally powerful Boeing M250 cals that can literally light an aircraft ablaze in a short burst. Fortunately, it's quite poor and an extended turning engagement as a result of its design focusing on high speed and combat, and has a very weak airframe. Attempt to force it into a turn and bleed all of its energy, but be sure to make effective use of combat flaps and rudder. The F8F1B Bearcat. This one word strikes fear into the hearts of all opponents who hear it, and the Jinpu is no exception. The last single-engine fighter of the famed Grumman Cat series can both literally and figuratively destroy the J6k. With its amazing speed, excellent armament, and near Focke-Wulf roll weight, brutal acceleration, it is the only aircraft the J6k can simply not deal with, so it should be avoided at all costs unless it is distracted. If one tries to force an engagement with you, immediately seek assistance. If there is no way you can escape it, head on the Bearcat and pull off around 1.1. Try to start a turn fight with the enemy. Your superior turn time and slightly better maneuvering energy retention will allow you to eventually bleed the Bearcat's speed and light him up. However, under no circumstance should you go vertical with the Bearcat unless you have superior energy. And the next aircraft is the I-225. The White Russian Menace is the king of high altitude combat. It outspeeds and outclimbs you and can easily light you on fire with its fast firing quad setup of Schwacks. However, it is very poor in a turning engagement and it has an extremely weak airframe. Turn fight, then light them up. Pros and cons of this on the War Thunder wiki are: strong armament, decent turn rate, reasonably fast for a Japanese fighter, still subpar for the majority of opponents, unless at 6 or 7k, where you can outspeed low alt-tuned fighters. Effective combat flaps and rudder, reasonable cockpit visibility. Goodness gracious, I can't fucking speak. But the aircraft is fragile, has a small armor plate behind the pilot's body, very bad climb rate, and you cannot outclimb basically any of your opponents. Bad acceleration, low speed, especially since it usually faces high performance or even super props. So let's talk about how I feel about its effectiveness in War Thunder. It's not a bad aircraft. It's an okay aircraft. If you got it and you are neglecting it, play it, enjoy it. It's a rare vehicle. I'm not going to see in War Thunder, at least console variants, again anytime soon, until they add the market into console. And another thing is you're only ever going to see this on something like the Gaijin market. which is a PC only thing. So if you've got this, be happy, be proud. I don't know how I ripped my wing there, but be happy and be proud, because it's not a bad aircraft, it's a premium plane. And this was back in the day when they gave out premium planes with every event. Now, you're going to be lucky to get a premium plane, and it's kind of heartbreaking to see that, because you worked so hard for all of this, and it's not even premium. So it's kind of heartbreaking, and it's kind of sad, but it is the life of Gaijin, I guess. Now that doesn't make any sense. But my point is it's not a bad aircraft. It's nice, and it's fun. You get you get good maneuverability, good guns. I'm pretty sure that J7 crashed into me and broke his prop. So it was kind of satisfying to watch that. And then for the last minute and a half of the video, I'm just gonna say, hey, it's been a while, guys. I know the video quality is not what it used to be, or maybe it's even better. I don't know. It's been a long time, and my life's changed a lot, for the better and for the worse, of course, as everybody else's life does. And I'm hoping that I can get back to uploading pretty regularly, at least, at least once every couple weeks, because I enjoy making content, and I enjoy making videos for you guys, and I've missed you guys. I've also noticed that we've hit beyond the 300 subscriber mark, and I'm very happy to see that. And I feel like I've neglected you guys, and you guys deserve better from me, and so I'm gonna do that. So, as I come to an end on this video, here's a blooper, but it kind of worked out. So I want to say thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. If you guys wouldn't mind liking and subscribing, it would show me that you guys really want to see more of this, and I intend to post more. So thank you guys for sticking around. I love you guys, and have a good rest of your night. Bye bye.